It's the same thing here. Same thing here. So really, if you're planning well and you're young enough and you have enough money, you really only need one trip to Costco in your life. You just have to back a tractor trailer up and fill it up. Put all the medicine and the ointments you're going to need when you're 70 and 80 years old. You can buy them when you're 20. Just, they got them at Costco.
Yeah. They're really missing the trick.
As I understand this, your Costco has caskets.
Costco around here has caskets. There's like 5 or 6 different ones you can pick from.
Yeah, I don't have coffins at my Sam's Costco.
Would you buy that when you're 20? Your coffin and just like keep it in your garage or something?
You just have to make sure you don't gain any weight.
And
who takes charge of the TV remote?
That's a terrible question. I don't have TV.
Have you not got a TV?
No, I haven't had 16 years. I have YouTube once in a while.
Yeah. What made you get rid of your TV?
I think that TV is heroin. I think that it makes people forget communication and responsibility. I think it becomes addictive. You get a lot of sensations out of TV, just like you would at any kind of drug. And I think it's the reason why society is so angry. It just continues to stir fear and promote violence and anger. And I think television is the downfall of humanity in the sense of being community and caring and loving to each other. It just stirs up all this stuff that we're afraid of.
Very funky answer. Very funky answer. Not many jokes I can make about that, that's for sure. What would you do if you were the only human on Earth?
Oh man, I would go into everybody's apartment and look for. I would love that. You ever watch The Walking Dead? I'm like, why aren't you looking through like their underwear drawer and stuff like that? I want to know what the juicy stuff. Like, I want to know what your green screen is hiding. I feel like there could be.
That's a secret question.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how other people live, and it. You know what I mean? I would also like to live in a department store if that were to happen, right? Just like, kick back. That would be fun.
What kind of worms have you opened recently?
I try to be controversy free, as I mentioned before recording, talking about espresso, coffee, pizza, etc. But I would say probably the biggest can of worms that I've opened recently with my girlfriend. One of the things we've done through COVID is we've started our own sourdough starter, and we make pizza. And we tried making pizza in different ways. And the look on her face when I suggested that maybe we make a white pizza with a variety of cheeses, toast some walnuts and put some fresh basil on it. And the look on her face and the friendly argument that we got into with her trying to convince me that nuts did not belong on pizza. And my comeback for that was, well, you have pesto. And pesto is made of pine nuts, and we put that on pizza. So why can't we have a white pizza with walnuts? And whether or not that will happen in the future, to be decided and to be continued.
To be continued. Steve, do you think we should have nuts on pizza?
I think you're nuts if you're having nuts on a pizza. I mean, I'll accept pineapple, but nuts, no.
No pineapple.
That's quite abrupt, isn't it? But I would prefer nuts. No, thank you, Ben. No, thanks.
No, where does happiness come from?
Inside. It's a state of mind. It's a mindset. It's a feeling. It's an energy. And I think it ultimately is more just a subjective gauge that we use as a label on ourselves. And your happiness and my happiness and everybody listening's happiness is a little bit different, but we know we all have that gauge inside. And I think that is the ultimate first motivator. I think that is the place where we recognize we're not happy, is when that gauge is not working. So it has to come from inside because it's so different for each one of us.
Almost like a needle.
Yeah, exactly. And you can tell when you need to rest. You can tell when you need to be creative. And I think you can also tell when you need to be happy.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think one thing that I've noticed is it's difficult to somehow figure this out when we're working at home. We're stuck at home. We don't do anything different. Whereas, you previously you've gone to work and you go to work and you've got to be at work.
Oh,
Now it's all
I
the
worked
same
at home
thing.
for 6 years before the pandemic. So the
Mhm.
first year of the pandemic was fascinating, just watching everybody else adjust to my lifestyle and watching the real extroverts of this world completely lose their stuff, because I had almost been, training for this for 6 years. So suddenly I felt like I wasn't the weird one because I was okay with it.
Let's go on to your last meal if you're on death row.
Oh, I would want something that would be really gross if it came out. Probably some kind of nasty taco salad with lots of beans, and something that would, if I'm going to death row, I did something horrible. I probably don't regret it, knowing me, and I'm going to go out with a blaze of glory. So I would do some research. I don't know specifics, but maybe just like 10 pounds of pop rocks or something. You know how birds were supposed to eat these back in the 70s and blow up like Alka-Seltzer? I would take whatever would cause the most amount of damage to my body, so they had the most amount of mess to clean up.
The most cholesterol, the most fat, the most saturated fat, the most sugar.
I would hope that something like in the movie Alien, where something would literally burst through like John Hurt and just take over the rest of the room, because I want to end up on some kind of trivia show where I am the answer to like the grossest government supported execution ever.
That is a Wikipedia page for the future. That is, if that's not there now, I will go create. It's the most outrageous thing you want to achieve.
World dominance. That's easy.
World dominant by when?
In this life, I think I spend a lot of time going, oh, don't we all? Like, well, I could do that better. I could make that idea up. And what I really realized during lockdown is it's all well and good criticizing other people, but you've got to come up with the ideas. And I spent a lot of time over the last 2 years creating policies. So far in the last 2 years, I have reinvented the education system. I've solved poverty. I've dealt with inner city housing.
Northern Ireland.
Quite frankly, I don't think, and we're not allowed to mention religion, but that you can ever solve that. That's people's belief system, so they can crack on.
How will your world dominance manifest itself? How will people know that they are being ruled by Vicky and not by the government?
Because they will have much happier lives, and they will be stress-free, and they will have much better math skills, of course, and therefore manage their money. There won't be debt, and then we will be able to break out of this cycle that we're in of buying rubbish.
Conspicuous consumption. Excellent. Good answer. Kathy, question. What have you managed or tried to rescue?
Oh my gosh. I have tried to rescue so many birds. Growing up, like the little birds fall out of the tree. And I was always tried to rescue birds, baby bunnies. And what's really sad? Oh, kittens. I've rescued kittens. And what's really, really sad about it, baby bunnies didn't make it. Birds didn't make it. Kittens did make it, but then I couldn't keep them. I had to return them to the shelter.
We had a dog go missing near us, and all the posters were on all the lampposts. We had a Facebook group, Find Josh or Find Joshy or something. How many people do you think were in that Facebook group looking for this dog? Have a guess, both of you.
Oh, I'm guessing like 50.
Oh, well, depending on how good you are at networking, 90.
10,000.
Holy
no
crap.
Way.
10,000 people in a Facebook group looking for a dog.
Did you find it?
I don't know. I weren't in the group, but
Oh, okay.
I honestly don't know. I just thought, well, in terms of, like you said, in terms of social engineering, which sports person did you idolize when you were young?
The first one that flashed into my head was Daley Thompson.
Daley Thompson.
Yeah, he did a bit of everything. He was amazing. He was joyful. He was happy. He was successful. And you could play him on the video games. And you had to tap to make him go faster, as fast as you can. And then you had to press the other button for him to jump, do like the triple jump or the high jump and all of that.
Yep.
So yeah, I felt like I was decathlon. I was helping him to win the gold medal. So yeah, decathlon.
Daley Thompson. Should just know for North American people, I'll not embarrass Ben by asking him if he knows who Daley Thompson is. He won
decathlon Olympic champion.
World champion, Commonwealth champion, European champion, whistled the national anthem famously on the podium in Moscow, Steve, was it?
I think it was. But like I said, the most important thing was he was in a video game. And that was just in the 80s. That was just fascinating. So that's the main thing. Apart from the whistling and the achievements and the gold medal, the video game was just incredible. So yes, yeah, Daley Thompson.
Daley Thompson. I once got his book from the library, and there's a photograph in the back cover, and he's stood there with his hands on his hips, and all the rest of them are laid out on the floor. And I thought, how cool is that? That is cool.
So interesting to me as a non-lake house owner. This belonged to a friend of mine, and it was passed down through the family. And apparently they receive letters a couple times a month offering, millions of dollars for this. I mean, it's a fine cabin, but it's not $1 million cabin because it has a boathouse, and it is now illegal to build a boathouse by the lake. There's so many rules and regulations, and out of this boathouse, they have these. They look like train tracks. They have these iron rails that will take your speedboat right into the lake. So even during the seasons when the lake is down, when water's being drawn out, you can get your boat into the lake. And this apparently, it's like the Hope Diamond of boathouses.
So because presumably because it makes a mess and a noise and all that kind of stuff, getting speedboats in. Is that the reason?
I am not a lake owner or a lake house owner, so I'm not entirely sure the details. But apparently, yes, there are issues of sand being moved. There's sediment issues.
Yeah.
And
what would you show extraterrestrials as an accurate depiction of the world?
Oh, I would show them corruption and greed and violence on one side. And then on my side, I would show love and generosity and kindness and mindfulness and most of all, forgiveness. I would show them that we are human and we will accept everything given the right opportunity and the right occasion. We will manage that violence and that greed and that corruption with love and forgiveness.
Where would be the best place to see this?
I think of my own country, South Africa. It's got both the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, totally.